Hello, I'm Odin, and today is the very first day of the first episode of the new series, The Book of Boba Fett. Or at least the day that my video got released is the same first day that is the first day of the, you know how time works, right? And as I'm recording it, it's actually before the show, and you might be seeing this video after the show came out. But the one day that this came out new is the one day it came out new, and I want to make something new for Boba Fett. So I'm going to make the Gaderiffi stick or Gaffi stick that Boba Fett had at the end of Mandalorian Season 2. This thing is considerably longer than the stick the Tusken Raider had when he was bullying Luke Skywalker in Star Wars A New Hope. Overall, I think it's just the spike end got to be longer because the bent stick side kind of looks like it's the same size. So I'm going to make the first part, well, I'm going to make most of it from PVC pipe. I have two different sizes of PVC pipe and a set of painter's extension poles. Now, because it's 5 feet long, I want to make sure it comes apart so it'll actually fit easily into a vehicle. So I've got the side that'll have the spike with the vanes, the fins, and I got the side that I'm going to need to put a little bend on and put the hitter with, the onion. What I want to do to make it come apart easily is use this painter's extension pole. So I'll cut this down to just the part that I need so I can save this for something else. Fett's Gaffi stick appears to be about 5 feet long. I checked that I have enough PVC. So the skinny end is fairly simple. It's straight, thank you. It's got a spike, that may not be con safe, and then it's got the vanes. So I'm gonna start there. I want the pipe for the spike end to be about 2.5 feet long. I marked the spot and cut the pipe. I'm going to be using urethane glue to stick the wooden painter poles into the pipe. I had sanded the wood pieces a little so they would fit in the pipe. But they still needed a little help with getting in place. Many times in the past, I've put a wooden dowel inside of my thin-walled PVC pipe to make sure it's gonna be stiff, right? But this is short enough. I've got a piece here, I got a piece here. That does not flex that much. And to be honest, if you go frame by frame, the one in the show flexes. So I'm okay with this. More glue on the other end, and I stick the other half of the wooden handle in place. I plan on sanding this wood into the spike. The bigger PVC pipe is too big for the painter's pole. So first I glue the wood into a short piece of the smaller pipe. But of course the two pipes don't fit together. They never do. So I wrap a couple of rings of tape around the smaller pipe, increasing its size, until it fits snugly inside the bigger pipe. Urethane glue foams and expands as it sets, so the glue will fill the gap between the pipes and glue them together. Yeah, even my glue foams. One thing I probably should have done before I glued this in was get the bend right, because if I don't get the bend right the first time now, it's going to be interesting. I had the idea stuck in my head that I could just heat the pipe up and then bend the end. Well, it's true that I can get a slight curve, like in the beginning of the bend, but once I heated the pipe enough to get that 90-degree bend, now, I know that there's a trick where you can put sand inside of the pipe and keep the sides from collapsing. I'd try that if I had sand. Now, I'm able to get a gentle curve without much of an issue. This thin-walled PVC pipe bends pretty easily. I still tried to work with this twisted pipe, but decided not using the twisted pretzel thing was going to be a better plan. So I'm going to use a PVC elbow instead. I don't know why I didn't do that to start with. To fix the pipe, I made a small connector piece so I could glue the pipe back together, like it was before I bent it. Yeah, that's going to be a lot nicer. Then I put the curve like out here where the paint is. That's a lot better. If anything, now I'm going to have to heat it up and relax it because it's too bent. Good. So this needs to set up. The spike end has set up and I can start sanding the wood piece to be the spike. Now, a wooden spike like this may not pass con safety, but I know it's not going to bend when I set it down on the floor. So if you're going to do this, please check with the con that you're going to be attending to be sure a wooden tip is okay. I'm using some 6mm thick foamed PVC sheet to make the fins that are on the spike end. The foamed PVC is easy enough to cut with a hobby knife, and thankfully the fin designs are all straight cuts. To dress the edges of the fins, I bevel them. Now I don't know if this is done on the one in the show or not, but these bevels will make mine look better. So I've got 3 vanes to put on the end of the stick. I want to put them on equally. I don't want to just guess because I'll get it wrong. I wrap some paper around the PVC and cut it so it just fits. And then I measure it and mark it to make 3 sections. I use my pattern notcher to cut the marks. I can mark on the pipe exactly where the ends of each fin needs to go. Something I want to do is make sure the orientation of the fins lines up to something I want with the smacking end. What I really want to do, because what it looks like it's got, is that directly opposite of this, well, of course it goes this way, there's a fin here. So that's really what I want to make sure I do, is I've got directly opposite of the curve, I've got a fin going here. I tape the end of the paper to that dorsal fin placement mark, and the notches show me where the other 2 fins are going to be. I can use PVC pipe glue to stick the fins to the spike pipe. My PVC pipe is 26mm wide, and the fins are 6mm wide. So all I have to do is set the fin on something 10mm thick, and I'll have the fin right in the center of the pipe. PVC pipe cement takes a few minutes to set and all day to cure. While each fin sets, I can work on other things. The second fin is still pretty easy to glue on because everything was still going to sit flat on the table. I just need to glue on the marks. But I need to elevate everything for the third fin. Balancing the pipes and pieces on all of my 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then I tape them down so they're ready for glue. But I'm still going to need something heavy to hold the fin right where I want it while the glue sets. I was also working on the bent end while all this PVC glue is setting. Now we didn't miss much. I relaxed the bend on the pipe, figured out where the new cut needs to go for the PVC elbow piece, and glue the elbow to the pipe. You should be able to see a set mark I made, so I knew that the elbow was in line with the bend of the pipe. I want to cover this end with foam, so I scratch up the PVC pipe with some 80 grit sandpaper. This will help the glue grip to the plastic. I paint contact cement onto the pipe and onto my first piece of foam. Now, unlike PVC cement, contact cement only sticks when it's dry. And since it's December, I can help the glue dry with a heat gun. The first layer is some 3mm craft foam. This will fill the area next to the elbow. I just need to grind down the other end of the foam so it gently slopes up from the PVC to the elbow piece. I also remove all of the markings and bumps from the elbow itself. Now the second layer of foam, the layer that you're going to see, this is cut from some 4mm HD foam. I need rings of HD foam to go in between the grip texture. I have contact cement on the ring pieces, and all of that bent pipe is currently coated with glue. After I have the first ring on, I wrap some 2mm black craft foam around the pipe, and then another ring. Repeat until I have 3 recessed black grip areas. Then I can cover the bent part with 4mm HD foam. Now what I really want to say is, I cut out this odd shape, the whole thing was just covered in one go. Truth is, the elbow was many little pieces of foam, all glued in place to cover the pipe. My plan to cover the grip areas is to use this non-skid shelf liner for the texture. I cut the panels of the grid-like material and glue them on with contact cement. Gluing over the black craft foam means I don't have to paint it. Everything will just remain black and look good. Now, the actual prop has carved grips, possibly with writing on them as well. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to wrap it with this material. So I'm sure some of you are questioning my idea of using the non-skid shelf liner for the grip on the Gaffi stick, but honestly, I'm liking it. This is it's a repeating pattern and it's clean and I like it a lot. Now, one of the reasons why I'm okay with it is, well, canonically speaking, In the original Star Wars, bubble wrap was just fine to use for Imperial waste. So what's wrong with the shelf liner? It's a swimming pool cover, the thermal covers they used to sell way back in the day that would cover your swimming pool. Either way, it's bubble wrap. I spread Alex Fast Dry over and into all of the seams. Now this is supposed to be a one piece of material, you know, no seams, no gaps. I've got one last part to make, and that's the club, the onion part that goes out on the end. So what I was thinking about doing was making the main body part of it out of layers of HD foam. I use my Cos Tools circle cutter to cut a set of circles from 10mm foam. The largest one is 5 inches. I contact cement them together into one stack, the big one in the middle, with a bit of 4mm foam on the top and the bottom as well, just for good measure. I set the table on my disc sander to 45 degrees and smooth out all the steps in the foam. And then I start cutting in new steps. I need to make the grooves that will form the nubs in the club head. And I'm trying to be consistent with spacing, keeping 6 rows on each side. And then I need to go back and make all the radial lines. This creates all the nubs that make the end of the club. And there's a lot of cutting and grinding to do. This needs to sit lower, but yeah, that's it. All right. There's always this one piece in the project. There's always this one part that's got me worried. I'm always concerned about, is my idea and how I'm going to do this work going to work out? Is it going to take me forever? Is the end result going to be worth the effort? Believe it or not, there's usually a piece on every build that I've got those fears. Well, I've actually been really worried about this one, but I'm not so much anymore. I just got to get rid of some of the fuzzies that are on here. To get the head to fit over the club, I drill out the center with a 45mm Forstner bit. Oh. Yeah, basically that's it. Yeah. I need the spike. I need to sand it, but you know. To make the spike, I cut a piece of 30mm foam dowel, then sand and grind the sides down until I have a sponge-like shape. And believe it or not, the spike on Boba's is not as sharp looking as you would think. I trim the flat edge off, getting a smooth slope on the bottom edges, and contact cement the spike to the club. I put on another couple of coats of contact cement over the spike. This black foam dowel is pretty soft foam, so I hope the extra cement's going to help firm it up. All right, suppose all I gotta do now is paint it. So the whole foam side, everything on this side is foam. All this will be covered with Plastidip. But this side, everything is plastic. So I'm gonna spray it down with my favorite black vinyl spray first, and then I can just spray paint it. So, yeah. The parts were primered with a black spray paint. The foam was a black Plastidip spray, and the PVC pipe was a spray paint made for vinyl. I want to keep the grips black. That was the whole point. So I'm going to wrap painter's tape around the grip on the bent piece. I've got a really dark brown I'm using as my first base coat, but I'm not applying this perfectly. I'm letting some black show through. And then I go back and mist it with this other lighter brown that I've had for quite a while. The two colors will mix while it's still wet, and I end up getting a kind of mottled, organic-looking, non-uniform brown color, which I think looks really good. When the paint dried, I sponge painted on some lighter brown colors, sort of randomly over the body, and highlighting all the nubs on the end that you use to hit stuff. Then I tried to add some shadows with black, which never quite works out the way I want it to. Yeah, nope. So I mixed up a darker brownish color, and that really didn't work either. I mean, it did, but it was kind of an ashen black and not a shadow color. So I went back to really subtly building up some black for the shadows. The last thing I wanted to try was some metallic pigment powders. I put some blue tape on the grip to make a hard line for the rings, and then I added a little bit here and there as a kind of dry brushing. I used both a bronze powder and a gold powder, kind of mixing the two. I just hope that sealing it with a clear coat won't kill all the sparkles. The last thing I needed to do was remove the blue tape and reveal the black grips. All the materials I used in this project I picked up locally. I put a list in the description. I've had a Gaffi stick on my to-do list for a very long time. And the fact that I finally gave myself a chance to make Boba Fett's Gaffi stick, yeah, this is pretty cool. I was torn when I first saw this in Mandalorian Season 2. I wasn't sure if I really liked the extra long end or not. And at this point, yeah, I do. It's unique. It makes it his, right? You know it's his because, and all the Gaffi sticks, all the Tusken Raider sticks, they're all unique to the Raiders themselves anyways, right? So it's okay if this one's a little different and it's got better reach because it's Boba Fett. Now this wasn't the only Star Wars prop I was supposed to be building in this particular video. For those of you who watch my friend's channel try to finish something, Sean Cash and I were talking last week about, or even a little earlier than that, about the upcoming Book of Boba Fett television show. And just watching some of the hints, some of the clues that were in the trailers, I'm not going to say what any of them are, we started talking about maybe making some power converters and making our own power converters because you never see them. I don't think there's any official image of a power converter in Star Wars lore. So we were each going to make our own, I was going to do mine in this video. I just didn't give myself the time to get it done. But Sean has got his finished. So over on his channel, he built another club type prop that Boba Fett's got. It's one that he has in the trailer, so I have no idea when it's going to appear in the show. But it's you know, it's a taser stick of some sort. It's something that Sean found a really cool plumbing part, and so he went with it and kind of made his own thing inspired by. So definitely check out his channel. Try to finish something. You can see the other half of this video. And I still owe a quarter of this video, which I will put out as a bonus video at some point very soon with the power converter build from scratch of scratch-built stuff. Now, with the Book of Boba Fett coming out, this wasn't necessarily the first thing that came to mind that I was going to build. I was excited about maybe now I'll actually make the EE3 blaster, Boba Fett's carbine, the one that he's got from Empire Strikes Back, as well as Mandalorian Season 2, and we see him carrying around in the trailers for the Book of Boba Fett. It's sort of one of his signature guns, right? Yeah, I was planning on doing that. Until my friend over at SKS Props, until Steve posted on Instagram that he's making one and he's knocking it out of the park. That thing looks fantastic. So definitely, if you want to see a high quality, all foam build of the EE3 blaster that I believe the video even has free templates so you can build your own, then please check out SKS Props. Go see his EE3 blaster. That video is out as well, and it is phenomenal. It is a fantastic build. So I know there's going to be lots of different ways that you can plug your friends' channels, but you know, go check out Try to Finish Something. Go check out SKS Props. He's the guy that created HD Foam, by the way. And definitely keep watching here because I'm going to make more stuff, and you know I'm going to be making out of foam because there's lots of different ways I can make something from Star Wars or from any other thing. But this is how Odin makes. Hey look, All that effort, I made a piece of pipe that screws back together. Okay, there's a little more going on, a little more going on. I want to thank Captain Seabone, Princess Squib, Travis Quimby, and all of my Patreon supporters. Patreon members at the $5 and above level get access to my private Discord, which includes weekly games with me, prop-related chat, and early access to live streams. My Patreon support is the #1 thing that makes this show possible. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe. Have an idea for something for me to make? Please leave a comment below. And if you make any of these projects, you can send me a picture.